Hello folks, the Y Guy here again. Welcome to my home on this very cold winter day. Why do I do videos outside when it's like this? I must be nuts. Well, according to most in Christendom, I am. So might as well go with the flow. I just love being outside. I've been like this since I was a kid. I always liked being outside. Anyway, the name of this video is called The Y Guy. Did God warn of hell? Or did God warn us of hell? Either title will work, you know. So I've got to give a shout out where shout out is due. I don't know, the idea for this video came from someone on Facebook. I don't even know if they're still my friend because it was years ago, and I remembered this. And so I'm going to speak it the best of my memory and then of course add my sarcasm and humor to it, which I do with everything. And let's see where it goes. Let's just see how God warned everyone of hell. And so let's just assume that God wanted to warn the human race of the existence of hell. So how would he possibly go about doing it? Because obviously it would affect an awful lot of people, considering Christendom thinks the vast majority are going to go to hell. You see? But instead of warning people, just coming right out and warning them, this is what God does. Now this is where the sarcasm comes in, okay? So bear with me. First, he doesn't warn humanity right out of the gate, you know, but rather he tells Adam and Eve, instead of warning them of hell, he says the consequence of their fall was simply that they were now mortal. That perfect opportunity right there was missed, apparently. And they would now have to toil on the earth until they die, and maybe even painful childbirth. You know, where's hell? And then he makes sure that never to mention the idea of hell in an entire Jewish canon, in the whole canon. He never, not even once. And then later on he allows pagan mythologies, you know, from pagan cultures and stuff, you know, to he allows them to believe in some kind of a fiery underworld, you know, as punishment for their wickedness. But he still doesn't tell the Jews about it. But only the pagans? And then, as civilization grows, you know, we get the Greek, Roman influence, you know, that kind of stuff. And their mythologies start to mingle and mix together with each other. And then some of them overlap and get into the Hebrew culture a little bit. And then rather than teach people about hell himself, God wants the pagans to do it instead, through the Greek and Roman mythologies. Then God comes to earth as a man to set the record straight, and we know who that man Jesus is, of course. Now God refers to hell almost exclusively using the term Gehenna, which is nothing more than a practical place, a physical practical place of a garbage dump. You know, God would think, well, that should take care of it. You know, you know, there's no room for confusion there. You know, a practical garbage dump. Now let's make it hell. Anyway, God then gets, you know, Jesus gets resurrected and goes back to heaven, and God's new followers, they come on the scene, and one of them preaches this post-resurrection sermon, and Peter completely forgets to mention hell. Wow, what an opportunity. And then God notices that his new followers, they're emitting hell message all over the place. So he anoints this new leader to once again set this record straight about the existence of hell. So this new guy, Paul, comes along, and he goes around the whole Roman world from one end to the other, and get this, folks, he never mentioned hell even once. What was the matter with Paul? Never. Not once in any of his sermons or in 13 letters that make up the vast majority of the New Testament. Not once. So God makes this last effort with this guy, you know, to send this message of hell, the message, watch out for hell, this warning, okay? He goes to this island of Patmos and tells this guy, John, set the record straight about hell, will you, finally? And John says, okie dokie, God, you know. And God gives him instructions, and he says, you know, put it like this. Put it towards the end of the most confusing letter you can imagine of ever writing. And use this very dramatic imagery and, you know, like imagery that nobody would actually really believe or take literally, you know. And, you know, like beasts with horns and giants and flying dragons and a mythological prostitute, you know, use that kind of imagery in this letter. Just use your imagination, okay? But the point is to make sure that some parts in the book of Revelation are literal and some are figuratively speaking, okay? Make sure to do that. Keep everyone guessing. This is how we're supposed to be warned of hell, you see. And don't forget to add a bunch of Jewish and Greek and Roman symbology to it. Add that into it too. And just to confuse the people later on that's going to be reading it in the 21st century. And in closing of this video, you have it, folks. Hell exists. You know, from everything I just shared, how God would warn us of that, with the evidence I just portrayed, clearly, God has gone to great lengths to make sure people are under no illusion about the existence of hell. If you disagree with my sarcasm, sense of humor, and this idea, the whole idea of this presentation, if you disagree with it completely, give me a thumbs down accordingly. And be polite about a comment that you're going to leave, you know. You can use sarcastic humor, of course, but that's still, you know, you can still be polite about it without the name calling and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, I'll just delete it, and it would, so nobody will read it, okay? And if you agree with this video, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel. And the reason I like folks to subscribe to this channel is not for vain reasons, and it's definitely not for advertising, because I don't advertise. It's to give a sense of legitimacy to the message for somebody who might be searching, coming along and looking at it and saying, well, gosh, this guy has, I realize I don't have tens of thousands of subscribers like most people do. I just got a handful. But you know what? If we can just help one person to encourage them to trust God with the outcome of all humanity, where Christendom has unfortunately encouraged or discouraged just the opposite of that they can't trust God for all humanity. Instead, you have to trust yourself and your free will. But in case that message clicks with you, and it might click with somebody else just searching. That's the reason I like to have a lot of subscribers, is because it causes you get the idea, okay? I have join the Y Guy group on, if you would like, on Facebook. It's a private group. 3 questions I ask of you. They're common sense questions for the most part. And my dog always likes to walk through the most skinniest little places and knock my camera over. Oh, did I say that out loud? I have also an avatar name of John Anthony Jones, a public group, a public timeline, not a group. Look me up there if you would like. I hope this video made sense, and I hope it gave you a chuckle. Thank you for viewing.